I don't know who Despot is. I don't know why we're playing their game. I don't know why are we building an army? Who knows? I don't know. So why is Despot letting us do that? Who also knows that? I don't know. All I know is that I want to make a little man army and fight off monsters, and is that too much to ask for? I guess not, since I'm playing a game based off of it. Why are we in dystopian time, though? Why? I guess we can't really make armies of random pink men in the normal world or anything? So I guess this will work for now. And, since we're in a fucked up world, yeah, we also have to do resource management. It's even more needed. Who knows? With that, who knows, might find roguelike mixed in the resource management. It seems like a pretty good fit. I don't know. When I was first getting into this game, I wasn't really expecting what I was expecting to walk into. I really don't know what that was. Was it some type of solo roguelike, where you send your people off and manage them externally? I really wasn't sure. I was impressed, though, to find that this was the style. It's some of the elements I've seen before, but all of it together, not at all, and I'm not disappointed in it. I was a little confused at first due to not reading all the prompts fully because, I'm an idiot. But once I got the hang of it, the gameplay isn't really that complex, but the synergies in the army design, oh lord, that can get complicated fast. But an enjoyable one since you don't actually have to go into all those small little micros, and I really like that. I don't like going super complex into a game. Sometimes I like to just go brain dead into a game. Go ahead and get into the positives of the game because there's a lot of them, so I got to cover them. There's, a lot of interesting mechanics with the army building style. And, it's not a full user input such as like Binding of Isaac or something. It's more of a army management similar to Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. It's kind of a combination of those two types of elements, and I really enjoy that. I think it's a really fun way to do it because I don't like having to micromanage an entire army throughout an entire battle while they're constantly doing stuff. That's just not my style. Nope. So I'm very happy that they went with that kind of method. I don't think other methods would have worked as well. To go match that, the pixel art style really fits with the whole army theme. So some of them are very basic and some parts are very complex. And I like that they kind of differentiate between that. They really make it whatever the player is, paying attention to is more on the basic end. It tells you what it needs to tell you, but it doesn't go overboard with the details. But the enemies do because they can, because you're not interacting with them. You're not dealing with anything that changes on them. They're just for the looks in the end. Like, obviously they have mechanics that go with them, but your input doesn't matter, so they don't need to be basic and simple. And they only come up once you're taking your hands off of it. All the different classes and such, they all have their own little costumes and things, and they're all nicely detailed and such, and they really differentiate between each other. And I just love that. I think it's such a cool little mechanic to make, like, the actual characters super, super basic, but make everything else, like, detailed so you can really differentiate, but you still understand the baseline. And speaking of the enemies, there's a ton of them. Like, I have seen probably 30 plus different enemies at least, and I'm not even past, I think, level 9. Like, I haven't even beaten the game yet. I'm still attempting to beat it, but I get into that at a different spot. So we'll come back to that. But yeah, there's a ton of enemies. I love that, it makes it more interesting as your army progresses on what they need and such. And, speaking of your army, Twitch integration's a thing. It's pretty basic. It only changes the names of your people in the army, but it's a nice addition. It makes your little people part of your community. I like that. When I send them off to fight in a war that, I'm just like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Ha! You died, idiot. Why'd you do that? I get to laugh at my Twitch followers even more. I love it. It's one of my favorite parts already. So the tutorial. The tutorial is really helpful. I wasn't really expecting it. I kind of zoomed past it, not really paying attention on my stream. And I regretted it. I very much died a lot, and it wasn't, it really hurt a lot. But once I actually read the prompts, there's a lot of good information. I should have read them first. So luckily you can turn that on and off. You can turn the tutorials on every time or not. It's up to you. But I am very happy I read them. Go through the tutorial. It's actually a lot of information that it gives you. And the tutorial gives you a lot of these like small mechanics that honestly help you kind of combat the RNG of the game. It's a roguelike. RNG is going to be hitting, that's just a common thing. But you can get a lot because of, other mechanics, such as, unlocking new loadouts. You can buy new mutations and such. Beginning of the game bonuses you can unlock. There's a lot that you can do that really help kind of conflict against the RNG. And what seems like a negative is actually more of a positive in my eyes, the food idea. There's a food mechanic in the game where every room you go to, you lose so much food based off your army. And it's a balancing act of, do I have enough food versus do I keep my army big? And that's actually a really cool mechanic because you can't just like streamline straight into this huge army of like 100 units, which I don't think physically can even fit on the board, but that's besides the point. But it makes it where you can't just go and just big numbers, big win, you know? And I like that mechanic because I don't like games that just leave it unbalanced like that. Going back to unlocking things, the different game modes, there's a lot of game modes to try out. One of them that I just unlocked was actually the easy mode. So once you die 3 times, easy mode's unlocked. You know, once you beat the final boss, hard mode's unlocked. And there's a couple other fun little modes. I haven't tried them out. Along with, there's also like PvP modes, King of the Hill. I haven't gone too deep into them, but they're pretty fun. And now that I've understood more mechanics, I think I can do PvP a little bit better. But it's cool that you have that interaction with other users in a fun way like that. And while you're unlocking these game modes, you can also unlock more unit loadouts. So I use personally one that has a sword and a healer versus, you know, the default one. I just think it's better in my eyes for what I enjoy, because that's kind of where my loadout goes, is in healers. But you can unlock, I think, like, you know, 6 or 7 different ones, if not more. And I'm sure they're going to keep coming out with more and more. The game's, you know, still early in its life. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot added to it. And finally, quests. I wasn't expecting quests in this game. So you might encounter quests throughout your different playthroughs. They're pretty interesting. All of them, you know, pretty unique overall. They really make you challenge some of the game. One of them, I had to chase someone around the entire place. So it burnt my food, but it also gave me a really good item to where, say, all my people come up as zombies. So it's a really, you know, give and take, whether it's going to be worth it or not. You have to kind of think about that yourself and make strategies based around those quests. Now, sadly, on to some negatives. There's not too many in this list, not like some of my other reviews where the negative list is a mile long, but we're not going to go into that. So the game overall, it had fun and weird music, but it gets super repetitive. I had to just turn off the audio. I got really annoyed with it. I just didn't like it. The music was good, but after a while, you're just like, dun 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 dun. That's all you feel like. It's just going dun 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 over and over and over and over again. Not exactly, but you get what I'm saying. And, you know, the sound effects, they were a bit bland, and some of them get overwhelming really fast as you go. It felt sometimes like the science weapons, they were just really, like, screechy and, you know, in your face versus some of the other ones. And maybe that might just be a me thing. Don't take that to heart. Play the game, you know, see what you think. To go away from some of the semantics of sound, the actual difficulty of the game can be... It's a really hard difficulty curve. So I'm not the biggest fan of starting off on a normal mode that is really hard and having to unlock easy by losing. I feel like that's a kind of a weird mechanic that I get, you know, learn from your mistakes, get better at the game. But 3 losses, and when you're doing runs that can take upwards of, you know, 30 plus minutes, I'm like, do I really want to go lose 3 rounds just so I can play a mode that I could, you know, win possibly? I'm not the biggest fan of that. I really think that going, you know, or at least making it where it unlocks by, you know, maybe a PvP loses and stuff, but 3 game losses is kind of obnoxious in my eyes. I can artificially do it, but who's realistically going to artificially do it instead of just going through normal and, you know, trying to play the game like a normal person? That's just my take. I think the normal mode is a little too difficult, or maybe, you know, have a couple more, like an better class setup, because I don't think the default class is that good in my eyes. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's how I play. It's not good. I'm not sure. I don't have a good suggestion on that. Like I said before, my main strat, it feels like this is the main strat to go with, and that's just shit ton of healers and tanks. Like, that's really how I feel my meta at least has been going. I had, you know, just like 8 or 9 healers, and then I just bum rushed freaking health and tanking, and that seemed to work really well. But I'm not quite the biggest fan of that, because a lot of them are just really squishy. So once you get to an enemy that has a lot of health, they're just gone. Like, they just get wiped out. And I had that happen a lot with my swordsmen and such. It was kind of annoying. My biggest gripe. Every game is gonna have this kind of gripe, I'm sure. But this one is, when you leave a room on accident, you lose all the free stuff you get or the shop buys, and you cannot go back. I have missed out on the starting room free item And I've missed out on a lot of shop items I really wanted because I left on accident. You can't undo. You can't just go back into the room real fast. It's just gone. You're done. Like, it just disappears. I get the idea of if you say don't want the item that's in the bonus, cool, go past it. If you don't want any shop items, cool, go past it. I get the idea of, you know, not wanting to get anything and then taking it away because it'd be overpowered if you had like 6 shops. But on an accidental one, I think it's kind of obnoxious. What I would like to see, and not change anything in the shop or anything, this is my suggestion. If you leave the room, you get an option to return to the room once for free. Just so that you can, and this is for only things that will poof away, not ones that stay forever, such as food or when you get mutations in a normal mutation room. But it gives the player the option to not miss out on that by accident by just misclicking. Especially if you're using a controller, you just hit one button on the D-pad by accident. Your cat comes up and smashes the controller in your face. You know, stuff like that. I've had it happen. And you lose the items. I was very upset. I lost a very high-level item I could have gotten that probably would have saved my run. Because I'm pretty sure it was the Halo, and it was like my 5th healer item that I could have gotten. So yeah, that is my big gripe of this game. Otherwise, chef's kiss. I love this game. To go into my final verdict then, after you heard me bitch about the gripe that I had, I would 100% recommend this game. Even if you're not big on micromanaging or army building, it's worth the go. Like, I really do. I think the replayability is great. There's so many modes and classes. You'll find something that fits your style. I don't know what your style might be, but I'm sure it'll fit. Now, if you just don't like anything, just don't play it. You know, that's just your own problem. But yeah, even though these, music is down design, it could use some work, but that shouldn't drive you away. And the other ones, they're gripes that I have with gameplay, but they're not groundbreaking gameplay. It is 100% still worth playing, even with those issues. Now, hopefully there'll be some small quality of life changes, such as, not being able to leave a room and lose out on your junk. I'm looking at my notes, even a confirmation button. I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier when I was making my other suggestion. An undo button, a confirmation button, something you can turn on in settings. It doesn't even have to be a permanent thing. Just let someone turn it on if they care about that. And maybe an auto upgrader, set up for your runs so you play the same way each time. Say you go constantly healers and tanks and such, and you want the mutations that follow that. I don't want to constantly go and remember I have to buy them and such. Or, let other people get, setups from other people that they might want to try out. Or make your own, and give it to people. I think that'd be a really cool methodology to do with some of the automation stuff. Because, it's an army builder. That's kind of like, in my eyes, where it should go. Is, make some automated stuff. Nothing too fancy, just a little bit, just to help out with some of the Neander thing. So I plan to play this more myself, get all the unlocks and go ahead and get the achievements and stuff. I think it's a really fun game. I personally love roguelikes and, army builder games. I think it's a really good mix of it. And, there's a lot to do. Maybe you'll dominate the PvP area, or maybe you'll make the best loadout and break the meta. Maybe you'll even be the meta. Who knows? But the game leaves so much to be open to you. And I just can't wait for more updates and see where this game will go. I think there's a bunch of really cool things that they could do. And I already see them adding a bunch. They did the King of the Hill update from what I saw, and that was a pretty big update on its own. So I think there's going to be a lot of cool things with this game. I think you should give it a shot. It's on Steam and it's on Game Pass. At least give it a shot. Definitely go ahead and buy it when you can. Support the devs. I think they've made a really amazing game here. But I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what other games you'd like to see. Let me know what you think of the game itself. I also have an awesome Discord down below if you want to check that out in the description. It's a ton of cool people. We talk about games and such. Along with, I also stream these games Friday, Saturday, 4 p.m. CST to about 8 p.m. CST. So if you ever want to check me out live while I'm playing the games that I normally review. And last but not least, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!